Traders to our post-week market review. So, jumping straight into things here from the start of the week. As you can see, price continued bullish upon market open. We saw price push from this point of interest here at around 3,290, with price then touching the high of around 3,390. Price then continued to consolidate, and if you remember from our midweek technical analysis, we went over this this move happening here. And we spoke about this level taking a key or being a key point that you want to keep in mind and look for. Price ended up coming to this level and we broke just above it. We tested it as a support on the lower time frames one time, and then price ended up breaking through this level. So let's just sort of mark through. We then saw a break of structure from these two previous highs and a break of structure of this point of interest on this key level. Price then touched our point of interest of around 3,400, with price then catapulting back down since then, creating a lower high at 3,373 and then a lower low at 3,310, where price ended up closing for the end of week. So what can we tell from gold? So we had an initial bullish push to start off the week. Price then continued up bullish, and then price began to consolidate. Price began to consolidate sideways, creating a new high of 3,400, and then price became bearish, with price dropping all the way down to near enough where price opened up at on the Sunday. So we basically finished in roughly the same position as we opened for this week. So what does that tell us? That tells us that gold has been bullish. However, we have seen some bearish demand. Sellers have still been taking control of the market, and price has ended up coming back down to where we are now. So what could we expect going into next week? Going into next week, we could potentially expect price to either hold at this level. However, due to the significance of this most recent bearish push, we are going to expect price to continue on to our next point of interest, which is around the 3,290 mark. So we're looking for something like this. So market opens and we're looking for a bearish move to around this level. However, there is definitely going to be a bullish scenario or a bullish possibility to take place here. And if I go ahead and mark this in for you. So what we could see is something like what we saw for the start of week for last week. What we could potentially see is we could see price test at the level of 3,311 as a support, with price then becoming bullish and breaking through these lower level points of interest and coming up to test this level of support at around 3,340. Why do I say it's a level of support? So as you can see, if I go ahead and grab a brush, you can see that multiple times we have tested on or near this level as a support. So it will be interesting to see if price can come back to this level to either test at as a resistance, or we see a break of structure, giving us an indication that price is going to continue on bullish. So as far as it goes for a post-week market review, we've pretty much went over the market. We've tapped into what's happened. So we've seen an overall bullish push with higher highs created, and then we ended up seeing a consolidation phase with the phase eventually being broken out through the bottom side, and price continuing on bearish. One thing I do want to say is I apologize for the background noise. I am currently out in Morocco, so these videos aren't as easy or as good as they usually will be. However, don't stress, as the next post-week market review will be back in the office. So with all that being said, that's going to be our post-week market review. I know it's short, I know it's sweet, but again, I am away, so the videos aren't going to be to the best of my ability. But I hope you understand where we are at with the market, these scenarios that we could expect going into next week. Remember, on Monday, I will tap in and post a start of week technical analysis write-up where I will go over sort of what I've said in this post-week market review and re-establish it. I will post that near to the end of the market day, probably near to the end of the New York session, before we then have that gap in between New York session close and the Asian session starting. So again, that's going to be our post-week market review. I hope you have all enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one.